Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Eris is So Fresh So CLE. This is episode 7. It is also our Labor Day edition. So we're so excited that you're here. We got plenty to talk about. I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit longer today because it's the holiday. I got time, you got time, we got time. So let's go ahead and get it going. The first up, we're going to start with Queer Conda. That's typically what I try to do on Mondays. And one of those major headlines that's in Queer Conda news is that Malik Yoba has come out just in support of trans women in general and just an attraction and his attraction to them. I think it's really important that specifically cisgender black men have that opportunity just to express the fact that, gender is fluid, gender is a beautiful thing. We all have access to all the gender in the world, and there is no harm and no fault in loving a person because of who they are, not their body parts. And so I'm hoping that this trend will continue because trans women's lives are at stake, trans men's lives are at stake, non-binary people's lives are at stake when people don't get to live in the fullness of themselves and when people don't get the chance to love them unapologetically and without any apologies at all about that. And so we all need an opportunity to be able to love ourselves unconditionally. And we have the opportunity to love ourselves and others unconditionally as well. So I'm hoping, once again, that the trend will continue. So I just want to shout out Malik Yoba for that. If you don't know who Malik Yoba is, he's from New York Undercover way back in the day. And then we also saw him on Empire for a while too, I believe. So I just want to shout out good morning to everybody that's joining me on live. I'm so happy that y'all are here. Also in Queer Conda news, September 23rd, I believe to be exact, is Bi Visibility. And so I will be talking a lot about that as a very out bisexual woman. And so just stay tuned for more things like that. So let's go ahead and go into sports and entertainment news. Alex Trebek, who has been the longtime host of Jeopardy, just finished chemotherapy, has pancreatic cancer, I believe. And so just continue to send your thoughts and your prayers his way. And entertainment and Cleveland news, Liam Neeson, the actor, he has an action movie that's coming called The Minuteman to Cleveland, and they're actually going to be looking for some parts. And so if that's something that you're into, if you're an actor, go ahead and check out that. I found that on cleveland.com. And so they're shooting part of the movie in New Mexico and part of the movie here in Cleveland. And its production is supposed to start in September. So we're in September. So happy September, everybody, by the way. And then next after that, what else do we have going? So LeBron James is about to try to trademark Taco Tuesday. Like the phrasing Taco Tuesday. Apparently his Taco Tuesday events have become a big deal, and so there could be like some production coming from that, maybe a podcast or a TV show or what have you. But I hear he has t-shirts already with his face as the A, which is a little odd, but let you be great because it's LeBron. So just be on the lookout for that and how that's really gonna unfold. I don't know if that's something that's trademarkable. I think somebody back in the day tried to trademark happy birthday or something. Y'all just need to leave stuff well enough alone. All right, so let's go over to some national headlines, shall we? So first up, we have Sandra Bland's family was paid out a settlement of a little under $2 million in a wrongful death lawsuit. We knew it was wrong from the jump. Her story still just resonates very, very deeply with me as a person who was arrested and never really knew why I was arrested. It turned out to be just crosshairs on a ticket that I had in the state of Indiana. But what would have happened had I resisted in all of that time and how that could have impacted my life and the outcome. And I didn't really get to start processing that until I heard about Sandra Bland's story. And so my thoughts and my prayers and my heart and my work and my activism is with Sandra Bland and with her family. And so yeah, let's just continue to watch what's happening with that. Next up, we have Hurricane Dorian. Hurricane Dorian is a Category 5 hurricane that's already hit the Bahamas in a pretty devastating way. And so, once again, our thoughts, our prayers, and even whatever resources we have available should be to those who are in harm's way during this hurricane season. Moving on, 9 months after a Salvadorian woman took refuge in a Maryland church, I think y'all heard about this back a while ago, she still cannot leave. Now, this woman has been here for well over 14, 15 years. She has children that was born in American soil, and when she tried to get an extension on her visa or her paperwork, I don't know if I'm using the right language, she was denied. And so she's been in this Maryland church for 9 months, and she's been living there. So I just hope that all of this mess around just these immigration issues really come to a halt, because they're really impacting people's lives. This is not just some frivolous thing that just is happening in our headlines. It's happening to us day in and day out. So once again, her name is Rosa Gutierrez Lopez. I know I'm saying that first last name wrong, so let's just continue to pray for her as well. We know that there was a shooting in Odessa, Texas. These headlines are not that exciting this morning, but over 22 people were shot. The death toll is now at 7. This just continues to show like how many interactions police can have with people who enact these types of crimes, and how many chances that they have to live. Now, this one did result in the person's death, but they were able to steal a post office vehicle and ravage 2 different towns and scare an entire state and an entire country. And, I'm just going to hold my thoughts to myself. That's a piece I need to write. Just how it would be if officers treated people who look like them the way that they behave. You know what I'm saying? Like, how could that really show up in the world? That's like some fan fiction or something to write. So on to better news. So the U.S. Appeals Court travelers can now sue TSA over invasive screenings. I am so excited about this headline. This has been something I've dealt with multiple times. Y'all know I've had all different types of hair and hairstyles, and I even have poems about me being felt up by TSA, having them put their hands in my hair, having them touch parts of my body that have made me uncomfortable. And I've seen people who have just as much volume, however you want to quantify volume, as me, not enact those same types of screenings. And so I'm now glad that there's a law-abiding clapback in place for us who continue to deal with these things with TSA. I will say now that I have TSA pre-check and clear, things are a whole lot better for me, but that's just that's a privilege and an access that everyone does not have access to. But I will say TSA pre-check is like $85 and it lasts for 5 years. It is well worth the investment. So if you need to, put a couple dollars away to save for that or splurge on that when you get a chance, I would definitely recommend it, especially with these new guidelines coming next year around IDs. So we can talk about that some more. So let's go ahead over to some local news. So this is really, really cool. So there is the Cleveland Veterinary Clinic. They just opened in the Fairfax neighborhood, and this is a Black-owned veterinarian clinic. And so often people who have pets in the city of Cleveland and beyond have to travel really, really far outside of their neighborhood, get the support that they need for their furry loved ones. And so now we don't have to worry about that. That doctor's name is Dr. Vinaya Jones. And I'm just excited. I don't have a fur baby anymore, but I'm glad to know that once I have one again, there's a place in Cleveland that is Black-owned that we can go and support. And so please look that up. It's the Cleveland Veterinarian Clinic. Cleveland Veterinarian Clinic. So that is just great, great news. All right. So moving on to things around the state. Dr. Margaret Temponaris. So this woman owned a pain clinic in southern Ohio, near the Ohio River. And she nearly ordered, over the course of 6 years, over 1.7 million painkillers at the beginning of the opioid crisis. And so she had about maybe 7 or 8 patients die in her care for how she prescribed these medicines. And that was more than any other medical practitioner in the state and more than some pharmacies. And this was Willersburg, Ohio. And so this is just really, really disappointing to see. But it's just this constant reminder that when things like this happen, they are intentional. This opioid crisis didn't come out of nowhere. It came from doctors and pharmacies having just not one, just even if they did know how dangerous this medicine was, they didn't care enough. And it has put so many lives at stake. So I'm sure we'll continue to hear more about that. Moving on to back to Cleveland news. I saw this headline and I don't really know what to make of it. A suspected gang member poses for photo with gun and cash in Cleveland Mayor Frank Jackson's driveway. So I continue to hear about this here guy, this grandson that kind of just does what he wants to do in the city, and I just don't understand why there's no accountability for him yet. I'm not sure what accountability looks like, but apparently another person who was suspected of doing some not so savory things was arrested in Frank Q. Jackson's vehicle, and the vehicle was apprehended as well. So that's just messy. And yeah, I just thought I should let y'all know that was happening in our city. I look forward to hearing your thoughts about it. And so last, on a good note, Danita Harris, she is a Channel 5 anchor. She's just an amazing woman with a beautiful, beautiful spirit. She just launched a spiritual-based program called Shine. And they have a worship service where they bring women together from various backgrounds who have lost their purpose. This group meets once a month to witness testimony of members, sing, pray, and learn about the power of giving. I love this. I love when folk go out of their way to create space for people who need space created for them. I think we all have opportunities to be able to do the same thing. And so I look forward to supporting that ministry called Shine. And so y'all be on the lookout for that. Other than that, y'all, those are all the updates I have. This was short, sweet, and to the point. I hope you are having a fabulous Labor Day. I hope that you are using this day to rest and reflect, especially for folks who are organizers and who have organized in this labor movement. Thank you so much for your service to make sure that people like us have access to equitable working conditions. And we know that this fight is far from over. We know that there are corporations who are not looking out for workers, and workers make this world go round, And so from me to you, I'm sending you all the love, all the great energy. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I will talk to y'all soon. Peace, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in to So Fresh So CLE. Once again, I'm your host, Eris. I hope that you've enjoyed. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment, because I can't do this without you. Peace. Vinay Media, connecting the dots.